Hey guys, I've had TOS or thoracic outlet syndrome for close to 40 years now, and I had surgery on one side back in 1991, and it kind of made me worse, so I've never had the other side done. Now, several people have asked how I ever got diagnosed. Well, I'd actually probably had it for about 10, 11, 12 years before I ever got diagnosed, and it was actually a physical therapist who diagnosed it. What happened is I hurt my lower back, blew out a disc in my lower back, and so I was seeing an orthopedic doctor, and he sent me to physical therapy. And when the physical therapist was kind of working on me, I think he had me sitting in a chair and he had me reach down and grab, you know, the underside of the chair seat and kind of pull up like that. And with my arm that had TOS the worst in it, and when I lifted my hand up, it was all kind of purple, and I said, what makes my hand turn purple like that? And he goes, you know, I was looking at that, and he goes, I think that might be what they call thoracic outlet syndrome. And at that time, I'd never heard of it, and he kind of explained it a little bit, but I still really didn't understand. You know, it's kind of complicated. So I said, have you ever had any other patients or seen anybody else that's had it? And he said, well, I had one lady, and he said she had the surgery on one side, and it went pretty well, and then she had the other side done and there was complications, and that's pretty much all he said. So it really didn't, you know, tell me much. And so, you know, went back to my doctor, and then he talked about, you know, I think he did x-rays, and he was looking for like a cervical rib. I guess sometimes people have extra ribs. I didn't have that. So anyway, when I had surgery, I ended up going down to San Francisco, UCSF, and I think the doctor that operated on me was Dr. Stoney, Ronald Stoney. And what he did is he actually just took some muscles out of my neck. I think it was the scalene muscles. I think he said there was 3 muscles he took out, and he said one muscle was kind of wrapped around a nerve, so he was pretty optimistic that I would be a lot better. And in some ways I was. I mean, my hand doesn't swell up and turn purple like it used to, but a lot more pain up here in my shoulder, the back of my shoulder. In fact, I still have better use of my left arm than my right arm, so I've never had this side done. Although lately, I've been having a lot of problems with the circulation. They've been calling, the doctor said it's like Raynaud's syndrome. My fingers will turn white, and the cold bothers me really bad. Now, the weird part about that is I've never had that problem until recently, and I've had, you know, TOS for close to 40 years, so I'm not sure why all of a sudden it's bothering me. I mean, we moved, and I guess it's colder here than, you know, than where we lived before, so maybe that's it. Also, the only other different thing is I had a spinal fusion surgery 10 months ago, so maybe that changed things a little bit, puts a little more pressure on my thoracic area or something. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but yeah, that's how I got diagnosed. It was by a physical therapist. I've been to other doctors, you know, along the way before, and they never diagnosed it. One problem with TOS is the areas that are affected, the areas that hurt, they kind of move around. Like, it started out in my wrist, pain right there in my wrist. That's how it started, and then seems like over time, more and more areas, you know, were affected. Pretty soon I had pain in my elbow, and then sometimes the back of my shoulder. Back of my shoulder blades are always tight, but one of the things is it always just felt like tight muscles. It wasn't always like, you know, intense pain in any one spot. It was always just tight all over the place, and you know, it just wasn't always so much that it was like super intense pain. It was just, I was just tight all the time, like nothing would ever relax. So that was, you know, one of my symptoms. But it's really hard to know where to go to get diagnosed, but that's the way I got diagnosed, by a physical therapist after having it for like 10 or 12 years. And then I think that's one reason my surgery didn't turn out so good. I'd already had it so long. I think the longer you have it, the less likely it is that surgery is going to help you as much. I've heard people say they got diagnosed pretty early on at a young age, had surgery, and they seem to do pretty good. Those are the people that seem to do the best. I think the longer you have it and the older you are, the less likely that surgery is going to help you as much. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.